Hello and welcome to Optimum Families. My name is Tirike Fawole. Our topic today is a question. Are you raising an entitled child? Who is an entitled child? I once worked with a lady who told me that when she was growing up, she was very poor. And so she made up her mind that she was going to give her children everything they wanted. She said, I ended up raising selfish children. And that's the first characteristic of entitled children. They're selfish. And they're not just selfish when they're children, but they remain selfish for the rest of their lives. And so when they grow up and get into relationships, they have these unrealistic expectations of people that they are in relationship with, or even family members or friends. And because these expectations are unrealistic and they cannot meet their expectations like the parents did, then the children get, frustrated even as adults. They start having negative emotions. They start getting depressed because they cannot get what they want. They also don't take personal responsibility for themselves, and they are unwilling to help others. Other people should do this for them. Other people are supposed to give them this, so they don't take personal responsibility. Also, they have high demands of everyone else but themselves. And so if you have children like this, they actually can drive you crazy if you give in to the demands. So you make this food. No, I don't want that. Then you bring another choice. No, I don't want that. Or maybe you have more than one children and one child wants this and the other wants that. Then it places a huge burden on you trying to meet all these demands. One of my aunties once told me a story. She went to visit a friend of hers in Canada. And when she got there, she found that each child would just, drink maybe juice with a cup, drop it in the sink, and then about an hour later goes to pick another cup, drinks from it, drops in the kitchen. And at the end of the day, she found that her friend was the one washing the dishes for children who could. And she told her, you're going to kill yourself if you keep doing this. So that's how these children can make high demands of other people, but not of themselves. They cannot handle being told no. So if they're told no, they'll pout, they'll throw a tantrum, and you've probably seen these children at the stores where the parents did not intend to buy certain things, but then the children want it and the parents say no, and then the children just lose it and they begin to scream and to pout. Because they cannot get what they want. They are not grateful for what they have, and I think this is a very critical part. They have a lot of demands that they want because they're not appreciating where it's coming from, and sometimes they will lie and cheat just to be able to probably get money from their parents. I remember growing up when I was in high school, there were children who would get money from their parents 3 times for the same exam, pretending and lying to their parents that they need to take one exam or the other, when in fact they don't. They don't think they need to do chores. So they're asking you, why do I have to do that? Why do I have to do chores? And so you end up doing all the chores, and they argue and fuss. Even if they end up doing it, is a lot of hassle to get them to do chores. And at the end of the day, finally, children like this grow up not even to be able to take care of the people they need to take care of. They are not willing, or they are not able to maybe either take care of their parents or their siblings or whoever needs their help. They are not able to do that because they're so much into themselves. Obviously, we don't want children like this, so we're going to go into how to prevent having entitled children, and if you feel you have one, how to manage that. As parents, we need to teach our children that their value is not in how they look or what they own. And so I remember this example when our children were growing up. My husband will sometimes or often go to pick them up at school in our older car, even though we had newer car that he could take. And he said he was doing that to teach the children to be comfortable in their skin, to not place their value on what they have, on what fancy car their parents drive. And I'm sure maybe the children in the beginning felt awkward, like, oh, why didn't daddy just come in that nicer car? But, they got used to it and they really got the message, so much so that one of my daughters told me a story when she was in high school that, she and her friend were talking and they got to know the profession of my husband and I. And the friend told her, oh my goodness, you can have whatever you want. And my daughter responded, you don't know my parents. And I told her that's really one of the best compliments she could give us, because she understood even at that time that she wouldn't get what she wanted just because we could afford it. Raise them to empathize with other people and to help people in need. And that will be an example that they'll see from us. So if you see anything going on, people that have need, and they see how you respond to people's needs, if you use teachable moments, maybe you're watching on TV and you see children in need, you can stop and at that time remind them of how blessed they are. And so that gives them the spirit of wanting to help others and not only to think about themselves, and to really know that they are privileged. And chances are, if you are watching me, it's most likely that your children are privileged, that you've been able to give to your children what your parents couldn't give to you, that maybe they have more things, they have better life and all that. So they may be privileged, but that doesn't mean that they are entitled. Those are two different things. Teach them gratitude. The number one enemy of entitlement is gratitude. Help them to appreciate whatever they have, and even things like people giving them gifts, because I've had stories of where after Christmas, some children start throwing out the gifts and say, oh, I don't want that. Why did she give me that? Maybe things that friends or relatives had given them. But we need to let our children be grateful for whatever they have. They need to know that if they didn't pay for that, if nobody owes them that, then that's a gift. And if it's a gift, someone actually thought about it, some kindness went into it, some money went into it. And so they need to be appreciative of what anyone gives them. And these are things that we teach our children from when they are little, and we continue to teach them. We told our children, if anyone gives you any gift, we need to know about it so that we can thank them. So it's not enough for you to say thanks. We also need to say thank you. And that lets our children know the importance of being grateful for whatever you have and for whatever anyone gives you. You know, one of my favorite scriptures in the Bible is Psalm 103 verses 1-5, because it talks about being grateful and why we should be grateful. And it reads, my soul, praise the Lord, and never forget how kind He is. He forgives all our sins. He heals all our sicknesses. He saves us from the grave, and He gives us love and compassion. He gives us plenty of good things. And so we need to just let our children realize how really blessed they are. We need to teach them contentment so that they can be satisfied with whatever they have. And most of the time they'll get that from us. You know, they see whether we're happy with what we have or whether we're always wanting more and more. We need to teach them not to compare themselves with anyone, not to want to keep up with the Joneses. So often we will hear from our children, but everyone has it. I'm the only one that doesn't have it. But that's not true. That's not a true statement. Most of the time, they are not the only ones that don't have it. But then what if they were the only ones that didn't have it? You still can't have it. Because we need to know when to give our children certain things. So if you don't think it's the right time, if you think it's too expensive, whatever reason you choose not to buy it for them, don't be coerced into getting it because they're telling you that everyone has it. Give them a correct interpretation of what they see on TV, and you're the only one that can do that. Help them know that not everything on there is real. Most of it is fake. And when people put things on social media, most of the time people will put their best foot forward. They'll put their best on. You know, whether what is happening with them in their lives or what they have, most of it might actually be lies. So we need to help our children to see the reality of what's going on. Don't be afraid to say no to your children. Don't give them everything they want just because you can afford it. I remember again growing up, I used to hate my mom saying this, buy what you need and not what you want. Because getting ready for boarding school, we will have a list of everything that we wanted, and she would just start crossing them out one by one. And it used to be so annoying, you know, and she'll keep saying it, buy what you need and not what you want. And I can still hear it now. And it was really a true statement. Many times your children want things that they don't actually need. Empower them to get things for themselves, even for as young as they are. Some of our children earn money maybe from working. Some of them actually have money that's given to them. Maybe they have this pigeonhole that they put their money in. Whenever they can buy things, let's empower them to use their own money to buy things. I remember when our children were young and we used to go camp meeting. And, you know, camp meeting was expensive, especially, you know, we're blessed with 4 children. But it came to the time that we would notice that our children are spending their own money, you know, buying things for themselves, maybe a nice pair of shoes, a nice handbag and things like that. But they were not still paying for camp. So we told them, you know, you need to save up your money and pay for what you really enjoy, which they did. They enjoyed going camp meeting and they started paying to go. And so we actually, you know, told other parents that you don't have to do it all. You don't have to think about, how to pay for so many children. You can just empower your own children to pay for these things, and they will. And it helps them to appreciate money even from earlier on. Teach your children delayed gratification. Teach them to wait, because that is actually the root of success for successful people. You can't rush to getting things and, maybe spending credit cards, spending money that you don't have. But if from earlier on we teach them to wait for things until they can afford them, then that helps them, again, not to be entitled. And another thing, we need to teach our children strong work ethics. They need to be involved in doing chores at home. I used to tell my children, it doesn't matter if I become a billionaire, you're always going to make your own bed yourself. I'm not going to have someone come in to make your bed and fix your room. We need to let them know that they are part of the organization of the home, and they have responsibilities to do their part just like anyone else. You don't pay them for doing the chores. It's just part of being part of the family, part of the organization, and they just have their part that they need to play. Don't make them feel like they are the center of the universe. You blame everyone for them. You blame the teacher for them. You blame the uncle for them, blame the auntie for them, blame their friend, except themselves. So we need to teach our children to really look inward and see, where they're at fault, what they could have done better, and not just blame other people for them and make them feel like, they're more special than anyone else. We need to teach our children to be responsible. So let me ask you, if your child breaks a toy, whether on purpose or whether they were careless, what do? Do you rush to buy another one? So what if they broke a laptop? They grow up and they break their laptop. Are you going to rush to buy another one? What if they broke a TV screen? Are you going to be able to rush and buy another one? So if we don't teach our children to be accountable, why would they bother? Why would they bother being careful with their things when they know that, dad is going to replace it right away? And I think the most interesting part of all this is that it's like an irony. The children, just like my co-worker said, that, she gave her children everything they wanted and they ended up being selfish. Selfish meaning that they actually didn't want to share what they have. So the irony is that the children that you raise to be grateful, to not take anything for granted, to work for what they have, those children are the ones that actually end up being grateful to you. They're the ones that end up wanting to do things for you. I mean, I've heard stories of children, even born and raised in the United States, who, because they had been taught like that, who actually turned over their first salary to their parents and to all the people that helped them because they've just been raised that way. I know children who give stipends to their parents every month. And these were not children that were just doled things out to. These were just children that were raised not to be entitled and to be grateful. And so even to be able to raise children who are going to take care of you in the future, who are going to remember to take care of you and be mindful, they will not have to be entitled. If we think that we can gain their love by giving them everything they want, whether they need it or not, they're going to develop a sense of not being responsible, not knowing that even other people need things because they're so selfish. And so it's going to be counterproductive even to us. Next month is February, so my husband and I are going to be doing something about marriages, so watch out for that. It's going to be great. So again, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to our channel so that you can get notifications whenever any videos come out. Again, thanks for watching and God bless.